Welcome to the vlog. Been a minute since I did a vlog, man. I've been sick. This weather is killing me, man. Killing me. Sorry, guys. Today's topic, man. It's been interesting in the last 5 years, I would say. 4 or 5 years, you see the growth of startups. Of how many startups there is that is growing across Africa, man. It's just amazing. And it's just, that's a trend that's not gonna change, especially now with governments across the continent really pushing for startup ecosystem and the youth getting into the startup game. That's gonna be a trend that's not gonna stop. It'll be very interesting it's unfortunate we don't have now like strong centralized database though that really keep track of those startups, not just who's registering but who's making it. But one of the things I want to discuss today is coaching. That's something I've been doing now for 4 or 5 years now. I mean, almost since I've been in back in Rwanda. I've coached pretty much I won't say everywhere, but in a lot of countries. And I've seen, unfortunately, the trend of coaching going the wrong way. So what do I mean by that? That's going to be the topic today, right? The coaching game is crucial. Very, for anybody getting into the startup, anybody doing anything new, there's a need of coaching in different areas. Doesn't matter whether it's pitching, strategy, how to network, what's the best way to network, and coaching is a little bit more advanced than mentorship, right? Coaching is very specific, and you really get into detail into that specific topic, and you really walk with the startup, the founder or the management team or whatever the case that is. So what you see now today is the trend of coaching moving more from foreign companies, sending people to coach African startups. And a lot of organization, accelerator program in Africa do that, which is mind-boggling. Because the bottom line is this: doing business in Europe, in the West, in the US is totally different than doing business in Africa. So even if you bring a successful person from the West, right, to coach startup or to talk to startup in Africa, it's just not going to work. There's going to be a disconnect from the beginning, right? Because the challenges on the continent is totally different. The way you're going to scale on the continent is totally different. The way you recruit, the way you have to develop partnership, the way you strategize, the way you're going to pitch your idea, what value you're going to bring to the customers will be different because the customer base also is different. So there is a huge gap. And I'm not sure if it's the lack of demand, or I should say the lack of supply on the ground in Africa that forced some of those organizations to bring business coaches from outside the continent. Or it's just the fact that they don't believe that those local coaches or expertise will be valuable for those kids. That's a different topic. I don't want to speculate on this. But there's a huge gap on that space. The second thing is more experienced entrepreneur. If you've been in business for 3, 4, 5 years already, and then you like the game of entrepreneurship, you like to share your experience, you like to help others, you should look at coaching. You should definitely look at that at that space. It requires certain skill sets. You have to be well training and reading the entrepreneur to make sure what ticks, what they like, how they understand the topic you're discussing, so on and so forth. But that's another aspect. But there's a need of more local coaches, right? And there's a need for accelerator program. Any organization working with startups to focus on local coaches, right? Because they will definitely identify much easier to the local coaches than a foreign one. I can tell you, I've spoke to a lot of entrepreneurs, they tell you the same thing. A lot of the topic that foreign coaches talks about, they just can't identify because that's a problem they're not experiencing. Sometimes they talk about their problem to those coaches, and the coaches does not know how to approach those problems because they never experienced it. You see, everything in life is about experience, right? The experience you receive and how you interact with that experience, how you overcome some of those obstacles, are learning that you can share with others, right? You can't teach something you don't know. It's just that simple, right? So I can't go to Europe and teach them how to do business. I never done business in Europe, so it wouldn't make any sense. So you can only share experience in areas where you've done business. I'm speaking about business side, right? And then the last thing I want to talk, and that's what really hurt me the most, really hurt me the most. It's that a lot of the organizations bring non-entrepreneurs or people with non-entrepreneurship experience to coach startups, man. And that, to me, that just breaks my heart. Literally breaks my heart. It's like learning, you go into medical school learning for a math teacher. Literally, that's what it is. And that patient is going to go under the knife after you graduate. Will be a horrible experience. And I know it's very visual. I know it's not it's a very visual example, but that's literally what's happening. You can't teach something if you never experienced it. Again, same thing. And that's the worst thing. I'd rather we bring foreign coaches than bring someone that has no entrepreneurship experience to coach, or to teach startups. So that's the topic of today, man. How can we really strengthen the coaching game in Africa? Because if we strengthen that coaching game, I guarantee you the level of success will increase dramatically. It's just the same thing. A lot of things is to minimize, the failure rate, to minimize the mistakes entrepreneur made. It's always good to talk to a coach, because again, a lot of the good coach have already experienced what you've experienced, and bringing those type of coaches are really key, right? Because you can open the door to a lot of areas and share experience that that the young starter hasn't went through, and they don't have to make the same mistakes. So that ecosystem has to merge really properly, and there has to be an incentive. If you look at, I only know the US, I don't know about Europe, but I'm sure it's the same thing. In the US, business coaches are highly valued, right? Unfortunately here, people looking for coaches sometimes, and most of the time, they want free services. And that's that. If we don't move out of this hump, it's going to be very difficult for you to get valuable information. But anyway, that's my take, man. Coaching is the future. That's a space I really love. I don't talk too much about it. I really share my videos and share my information, but I do, I've done this for years now, and I've seen the trend. I've seen the need growing tremendously. And I felt like it was time for me to address it and really talk about it, because what scared me the most is when you have a young entrepreneur listening to somebody who's never been an entrepreneur, thinking that person knows what they're doing, and then they go on the field and they just get killed, man. They just get murdered out there. And next thing you know, they blame themselves, they blame the world, not realizing they didn't get the right foundation from the beginning. So let's change this game. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think, man. Take care.